Well people, what is happening? It is Josh from AH Sports Cards. Big shout out to 1878 Cards and JH96 for the easy deal. To start us off, I'm going to go run through the raw and then I'm going to show you the slabs. So first up, we have a Michael Carrick numbered to 99 on the Impeccable for Manchester United. That was a bit of a banger, to be honest. There was quite a lot of United here. We had a Casemiro for Manchester United on the tie-dye, numbered to 25. Then we had some smaller stuff. We had a Varane on the patch. Boys, this is in no particular order as well. It's just what I picked up. We had a Brian Robinson auto. This is quite a nice card. This here, I'm actually curious to see how this does on whatnot, because I think this is a bit of a banger. It is Berbatov auto, and it is out of 10. I think it's a bit of a sick card. Then we have Robin van Persie. I think this one is player worn. Yep, so this is player worn for the Netherlands. Again, on the tie-dye. You can't go wrong with a wee bit of select. And I am going to try and move a tiny bit faster here. We have Daily Blind, again, on the tie-dye. We have some nice numbers here. I'm not going to talk too much about them, but there's a nice Roy King. We have a Falcao. And then we have a Martinelli on the Ray Wave. But every so often, I am going to have to pause a wee second just to put some of these cards away, because we're operating on limited space. So these two were nice. These were on the colour match for Brighton. Big Verge, Van der Sar, Zola, rookie for Manchester United. Let's see what else we've got. Enzo there on the rated rookie, another nice card. Quite like this. Deco, Cucurella, Bergkamp, Varane, another Malacia. There's a Cavani there. I quite like this Obsidian. There you go, that's a better picture of it there. But lots of real nice stuff. Roy King on the sticker. We have a Varane White Sparkle. I believe it's my first ever White Sparkle that I've owned. Don't really see too many of them. Yaya to 30. Roy King. I'm going to say this is a rookie. I could be so far wrong here, so forgive me. Another Yaya, more Yaya, and a nice Jesus. Once we go further on, we'll look at some slabs. I'm actually really excited for whatnot coming up. To be honest, there is so much that we want to run. I had another delivery come in there, and there must be about 500-600 cards in it. So I've took this week off whatnot. I'm going to take it easy this week. And when I say take it easy, I just mean I'm not going to do any shows. And what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to try and get 5 to 6 weeks ahead, and I'm going to have all the cards listed for any of you who follow my whatnot channel. That's something that I try and do. There's no card on screen. Everything is listed. You know exactly what's coming up. You know what the number is. You know what set it's from. You can search comps yourself, and I think it's a win-win for everybody. Because for me, I'm not at the level where I can just run card on screens and you know, cards go for way over comps. Not that I want them to go way over comps, but you know, I'm not at that level yet. You know, I wouldn't get the viewership. So at least when I list them, people know exactly what they're coming for. I would recommend for anyone who's just starting whatnot to actually give that strategy a bit of a go. Because to be honest, for me, it works really well. It works really well, and it just sort of means, you know, that, like say for example this Ruud Hullet, you'll have a whole lot of people who maybe search on whatnot for Ruud Hullet, and they'll come in and bid in the cards, or you know, someone will want Obsidian. So it's a real good way to get viewers in. And that's also nice to be able to say to people, check the store, you know, because that's something that everyone on whatnot does. You know, everyone joins a whatnot stream to go, here, what have you got in? And I'm easy just to say, you know, check the store out. So here we're on to the slabs, and there's some absolute bangers. Lots of Enzo, lots of Jadon Sancho. There's a nice Ferran Torres on the MGC. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with PSA due to the new restrictions that Trump's imposed. So I've got a lot of cards at PSA at the minute, and to be honest, I'm a wee bit worried about it, because the last thing I want is to get hit with a mad bill. There's a David Seaman on the Pro Set. Then Mudryk, Ryan Gravenberch on the Aqua Prism. This is a rookie. So another nice card. Bear with me here. Now we have transfer to Arsenal, and that is Ian Wright. And then it just says transfer banner on front from CGC. And there's a Musiala and then a nice Mane. That Mane's a bit of a sick card there, to be honest. Believe it or not, we've already been recording for 5 minutes and we have about 150 more cards to go. We have Evan Ferguson, a nice Koke, more Jadon Sancho. I actually didn't realise how much Jadon Sancho I actually picked up, and lots of Dortmund stuff here. Tammy Abraham on the colour match for Chelsea. And let me clear some space here. Bear with me. So like I said, I am going to be trying to get ahead of the game and list a lot of cards the next few weeks and whatnot. We're going to try and get about 6 weeks ahead. I think 6 weeks ahead sets us in good stead. There we go, there's some more lovely cards. More Jadon Sancho, Higuain. There's a nice Alan Shearer for Southampton. Lovely card. Douglas Luiz, Kevin De Bruyne, Harry Kane. Banger after banger here, boys. Banger after banger. Now it looks like we're hitting the Premier League stuff, because there is a nice Saka, more Starboy, Havertz. There's a nice Declan Rice on the sticker. And Nkunku, more Nkunku, Vinicius, Big Ansu. I think he could still be one for the future. Then we have, let's pick out these slabs here. We have big Robert Lewandowski, Rashford, Mason Mount, more Mount. Some lovely cards. I know I'm not really talking too much about these ones. There's a nice Mohamed Salah. I'll show you that a wee bit closer to the camera. So what I'm sort of hoping for the next few weeks is, I hope I hit 3K. I suppose that's my big goal for Whatnot at the minute. My next milestone is 3K viewers, or sorry, 3K followers. And do you know what? So if we can get that, we're happy. And then we're on the next one, which is 4K, then eventually 5K. We're going to really try and grind it out. And Whatnot is something that I am seriously enjoying. And I would recommend anyone who's a bit of a hobbyist at the minute, if you've got a lot of extra stuff set in, give Whatnot a whirl. What I would say, my advice on Whatnot, what would I say on Whatnot? My advice on Whatnot is, see if you're just starting, focus on inserts. I wouldn't dive right into the deep end. I wouldn't go out and spend thousands of pounds on stock. What I would do is start off with inserts. You know, you can pick up inserts on Facebook for 10p a go. And you can sell them on Whatnot for £1. And then that just shows you how it sort of works and what you should be doing to make things work for yourself. And that's how I started. I started with just running inserts, a few autos here and there, a few patches, and really just learn more about the hobby, learned about what sort of does well, what doesn't do well. And, you know, see if you have a good footballing knowledge, you can sort of predict the cards that are going to do well for you. So, like, for example, I know that Manchester United is one of the biggest teams in the world. So, of course, United cards are going to do well. It doesn't matter if it's an insert, it doesn't matter if it's an auto, it doesn't matter if it's numbered. United just does well. Same with Liverpool, your Arsenals, etc. Mount's another good example. You know, you have Mason Mount in the United kit, it does well. Mount in a Chelsea kit, not so much. You know, you just sort of have to be paying attention to what's going on in the world of football. Obviously, because I'm based in England, or no, I'm based in Northern Ireland, sorry, but my main viewership is in England. So the cards that do well, Premier League. Premier League does really well for me. Spanish League does well. Where does it sort of fade out? Bundesliga. Bundesliga doesn't really get the love it deserves. The Italian League, Serie A, doesn't get the love it deserves. And sometimes cards that are maybe from highly rated rookies for maybe Juventus don't do as well as a rookie from Barcelona. Do you see what I'm saying? You sort of just have to weigh it up. Sort of look to see what your viewers are interested in. You know, obviously there's different different strokes for different folks, I suppose that's the saying. But that's something that's how I learned on Whatnot. You know, I learned on Whatnot for going for the inserts. I learned by numbers. Numbers is another great way, and it's a low entry point. You know, you can get lots of numbered card on Facebook Marketplace, for £1. £1 to go. £1's normally a good part for a number. Like see now, when I look at numbered cards, especially high numbered cards, I just see that as filler. That's filler for my Whatnot shows to sort of bulk them out a wee bit, especially if it's high numbered. But you can sort of look and you can go, well, do you know what? Maybe this card has, just for example, this card has nice eye appeal. You can sort of say this is a colour match, and you can say, well, do you know what? It looks well. That might get me more than £1. There's a nice David Beckham there on the World Cup sticker. Kagawa, Ibra. I'm trying to think of what other advice is good for people who are just starting. And I think the biggest and best piece of advice I can do is, one, have a genuine interest in sports cards. Enjoy what you're doing, because there's certain parts that are incredibly tedious. And see, if you don't love it, it will bore you to tears. It will burn you out. Like, it is difficult to list 150 cards on a stream. That is something that's difficult. It is difficult to talk to people for over 3 hours when you're running cards. It's hard to keep the enthusiasm up. Another thing that's difficult is when you're on Whatnot and maybe a card tanks, moving on to the next one. And that's a lesson I'm probably still learning. I'm in my infancy of Whatnot, and that's something I struggle with, you know. I'm not saying Conor Gallagher is worth, say, £50, because this is just a mad example. But say that's worth £50 and it goes for 30 for me on Whatnot. It's being able to let that £20 loss go and just know that maybe on the next one, this Messi might be worth 40, but on the night someone can pay 60. Do you see what I'm saying? There's no set rule with running auctions, and sometimes it's a wee bit hard to let the cards go. But see if you are just starting, also don't feel the pressure to run everything from £1, because I can promise you this. See, if you're just starting on Whatnot and you do not have the viewers, you will get absolutely nailed. And what do I mean by that? Your slabs that you think are worth £10, they'll be going for £5. Those autos that you think are worth £3, £4, they'll be going for £1. And that's just the bottom line. You need viewers, so don't be afraid. Do not be afraid to list up all your items for set price, but also have room on them. I would say that, you know, if you join Whatnot and you list all your cards and you have set prices, say for example that's worth £15 and you paid 10, don't be afraid to take 13 for it. You know, take your small margin, take your small wins. And see, if you're holding a card for a long time, it's okay to make a loss. Just say that you move on and get it at the next one. Maybe that's just that ramblings, and I can probably take my own advice sometimes on that sort of stuff. The other best bit of advice I can give you is find a community. You know, get into Whatnot and find your community. And one thing that I've absolutely loved at the minute is talking to boys who all share the same interests, who love talking about cards, who like grading cards. There's so many different niches. You know, for example, this is something that I do. So you will never, and I mean this, you will never ever see me in a break unless by some off chance I am supporting one of my friends. But you will never see me in a break. You'll never see me in mystery packs. You'll never see it. But you know how I get my thrill? I will buy raw cards, I will look at themselves under the microscope, and I will send them away for grading. And that gives me the same buzz as opening raw packs. And that's something I enjoy doing. There is a nice Bobby chart on there. And then there is a Michael Carrick. There's a young Michael Carrick there. Class. So I hope that sort of makes a good bit of sense for you. And hopefully that you don't just think, he's on one again. Because sometimes I do that. Sometimes I talk the biggest pile of nonsense to fill the space. And you probably notice with the Northern Ireland accent, sometimes when I get a bit excited, I speak a wee bit too fast, and I have to realise that not everyone can keep up. There's a nice Trent and a nice Alan Shearer. I'm also filming this video, and I think it's like 11 o'clock. Right now I'm just in from work, but I wanted to give myself a bit of a chance to run some content on TikTok and YouTube. And then I also wanted to give myself more time just to complete listings. There's a nice Gravenberch, I think that's numbered to 25. Hoyland on the choice. And then there is a nice Luke Shaw. I'm being warned here by my phone that I only have 10% battery left. So we'll have to maybe pick this up. And if I lose the audio, I'll just have to stop. A nice David Beckham there on the All-Stars. Another David Beckham. And a Christian Pulisic. But saying that, we actually are doing well. I'll maybe just pick up the speed a wee bit. So we have loads of slabs here. I think when I counted, there was like 207 slabs and maybe about 50 to 60 raw cards, which is some goal when you think about it. Nice Steven Gerrard there for the Rangers fans. Another Jadon Sancho. I say it feels like the Jadon Sancho show. More Sancho. We're loving the Sancho at the moment. Virgil. Net finders there for Luis Suarez. Trent and a Valverde and a mint 9. There's some Beckett. I would love to hear what you boys are collecting in the comments, and if there's any videos that you would like to see me do. I am going to try and add a face cam as well, but just at the minute I'm still learning just how to use friggin' one camera, never mind two. Because I'm going to be honest, I thought I used to be good at technology. But see, since I've started this, I've realised that I am an absolute dodo. I am a dunderhead. And it is a bit difficult trying to work out. Like, see, even trying to use OBS. Nightmare. There's Vinnie Jones. Do you know what? Probably my favourite card in the entire pickup. I actually might keep it. The OG Buster. Delic. Bobby Charlton, Harry Kane, Rashford, and a nice Christian Eriksen. Hopefully you have enjoyed this and you haven't thought it's been too long. Nice Richarlison here. A few more slabs. There's an Alan Shearer, Timo Werner, Shaqiri. I am just trying to fly through this here because I'm just watching the battery drain, and I don't want to have to film this twice. There's a Patrick Vieira on the sticker. This is it's a 5, to be honest. Seeing stickers, I don't think it matters too much. That one's nice. Throw that off. That label, and don't worry, that label was not for that one. And that is numbered to 25. I actually quite liked the Richarlison a minute ago, even though it was in the Everton kit. It was a nice colour match. But we are flying through, boys. I'm actually looking forward to showing you my other big massive order. There must be about 500 cards on it, so I need to make sure that the sound or the mic is well charged up, just so I can get that out to you. We are coming up to the very end. I'm hoping there's a couple of bangers left, but I'm doubtful. Gavi, Camavinga, Doku, Oscar Bob, and we're finishing with Sam Kerr. And to be honest, boys, that's me done. I have nothing else to say other than make sure you follow me on TikTok, Instagram, and whatnot at AH Sports Cards. Thanks very much, boys. I appreciate it. As always, please hit the follow button. Please follow me on whatnot. Subscribe, all that jazz. Thanks very much. And we're finishing at 19.5 minutes. Not too shabby.